Cantor Katzman, your original sound is ready?
It is.
Good.
Got a minute.
It is.
Thank you.
Tina.
It
Hi,
may be
Christina.
unoriginal, but it's
Hi,
there.
Sunny.
Is Rabbi Singer still away? I wanted to congratulate her.
She was actually back this week, but is off on another assignment right now.
Well, we're so lucky. We just have you, right?
It is just me.
Oh, in all your glory.
No, not the best.
Oh, and you know what? It's congratulations to her on the honor.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we
absolutely.
said,
She's
right.
Send her a
36
message,
under
but I don't
36. It was an incredible,
36.
incredible honor.
She's one of the.
All right,
It
friends,
is
I'm gonna
incredible.
mute us all here. Hi. Man, when we are in person, to have this ability later on to just be like mute and everyone's quiet. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be great for my 7th graders. Hopefully that'll work in person too. Well, friends, Shabbat Shalom. Before we begin with our opening song from Cantor Katzman, I want to remind everyone that in a moment in the chat, our incredible Allison Barker is going to put a couple of things in there. One is going to be the link for the prayer book for the Siddur, and the other is going to be the link for adding names for Misha Berach and for Kaddish. And you could add those any point during the service, whenever you feel ready, because we want to make sure they're in before we get to the prayer so that we're not like refreshing really fast and everything. So if you, right now, the Siddur link is in there and the other link will be there in just a moment. I'm going to make sure our Facebook friends have it as well. Boom, 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 done. All right, so we're gonna get started here with our wonderful Cantor Katzman with an opening nigun.
Me.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, I'll make you co-host. That way you can unmute there.
Thank you. Oh, co-host. I've always wanted to be that. Okay. Please sing along with your co-host. Ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba. Second part. Ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim. Again, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba. Oh ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ya ba.
And Shabbat Shalom, friends, and our whole Temple Sholom family. I really want to appreciate you who are here. There was something else that you could be tuning into. It's a parade of flags, if you will, an opening ceremonies. But here you are for the opening ceremonies of Shabbat. These opening ceremonies that we celebrate each and every week. We celebrate literally the important one coming into our space, that being Shabbat, represented by the Shabbat bride. We celebrate all that we've done to prepare for Shabbat as well. And as you see, our whole service is a beautiful, beautiful arc of what it means to be ready and to be working and to be preparing for some of our most important moments in the service, in a way that we are looking at the rest of our week to say, okay, I've got big things coming up, but I'm going to be ready. I'm going to keep preparing. I'm going to keep working so that I come in my best way, and I really perform at my best. So in today's service, not only are we going to be talking about the ways that the service flows and the ways that we prepare for the next thing, for the next thing, for the next thing, by walking on the track with a flag, or at least a flag of who we are in our lives and what we are bringing to our service. But we're also going to look really explicitly at one very exciting event, which is the Shema, which shows up in this week's Torah portion, or whole Shema and Ve'ahavta. And so we'll talk about that a bit more when we get there. So I want everyone to take a few breaths. We've been preparing for this moment all week. We've been getting ready. We've been looking forward to it, practicing and training for this. And to start us off, we light our torch. We light the Shabbat candles. Oh, Sunny's getting a huge kick out of this. We light our Shabbat candles. And so I invite up Meg Dixon and Max Whipson to join us on our virtual bima to light the candles on page 120. And I'll click unmute. There you are.
They're electric because we have birth. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Meg and Max, it is tough to see those boxes behind you. It was an honor to honor you in two different ways last week on the actual Temple Sholom Bima, and how much we are going to miss you when you're zooming in from New Mexico. Thanks for honoring us in lighting our torches of Shabbat. As we to bring in the sweetness of the Kiddush, we're going to invite up Brian, who's under Brian's mini. So I'm gonna add you as a spotlight there. There you are. As Brian Barish is going to start us off in the Kiddush, as our cantor is going to finish up the rest of the Kiddush.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Oh, sorry.
You're doing great.
No,
You want to
go
continue?
ahead,
Okay.
please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Toda Rabba, Brian. Thank you for all that you do for our Temple Sholom family, not just bringing the joy of the wine, but bringing your granddaughter and bringing so much beautiful support for our Temple Sholom family and community.
Thank you. I love it there.
Good.
Thank
Good. As we start these opening ceremonies by bringing in the most in one of the most honorary dignitaries, the Sabbath bride, the Sabbath love. As in a moment, we are going to do verses on page 138 and 139. We're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. In this way, on the 9th verse, we will rise either in body or in spirit as we welcome the Sabbath bride into our space.
לך דודי לקראת קלה יללי 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 בני שבת תקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה יללי 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 בני שבת תקבלה שמור וזכור ותגמור אחד איש מינו אל עמך אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו תפארת ולעיתים אדוני לקראת קלה ילדי 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 בשבת תקבלה אדוני לקראת קלה ילדי 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 בשבת תקבלה לקראת שבת ונלכה כי נקור הברכה מראש מקדש לשמחה סוף מעשה בשבת לך דודי לקראת קלה ילדי 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 בשבת תקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ילדי 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 בשבת
We remain standing as we turn to page 146 for the words of the Baruch Hu, a prayer that literally says, are you ready to pray? Are you ready to do this thing that we have been preparing for this whole week? Are you ready? Have you been preparing with these words of the Kiddush, of the candles, of the Chadodi, and our preliminary prayers to say, yeah, I'm in a good space. I've been looking forward to this. And I'm excited to get into the core, the worship of our servants. Page 146. prayer in honor of Ma'ariv Aravim, a starry night. The firmament is pregnant with promise. Thy seed is everywhere, creating the heaving hills, the throbbing of the mountains, the pulsing of eternal hope. Starlight pierces the firmament, incandescent in the hills, a touch of the untouchable. Magic, diamonds, piercing moon, moving clouds, intense white light. Oh, the crystal crispness of this moment. The world is shared, creation, mortal and divine. Help me understand the balance and know my chosen role. Stars shimmer in the heavens, lights illuminate the earth. Lead me, guide me, I will follow. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 152 for our words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
We may be seated. We are going to hear the words, we're going to hear the words of the Ve'ahavta with these words that Debbie Friedman put to music, which are going to be screen shared as the cantor begins our prayer here.
Shalt love Adonai your God with all thy heart, with all your soul, and with all of your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when thou sittest in your house, when thou walkest by the way, and when you risest up, and when you lie down, and when you lie down, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
I absolutely love that version of the Ve'ahavta. It brings me back to camp. It brings me back to just being around friends that I love so much. As we move from our Ve'ahavta, which is our training manual, we take those steps out into the field, getting ready to go to our main event, which will be our Amidah. But taking those first steps, saying, this is actually the thing I want to do to get to the place that I want to be. Those steps are so absolutely difficult for all and just about every moment. And so we celebrate them. We celebrate our ability to take steps forward and continue to work towards new life with our Micha Mocha, page 158. We have been preparing and getting ready. We also recognize that after our time together, it is a scary time, a time that we wait for results, a time that we are figuring out what is next. What will the next day bring? And so each evening we pray the words of Hashkivenu. And I've actually had the opportunity, I've known I was going to do this for years, but only in the past week did we start it, of singing a nighttime Shema with my new son, Yair. And so that has meant singing him the Shema and the Hashkivenu. And so it has just been an absolutely beautiful and important moment. I'm just worried that every time in services that he hears the Hashkivenu, he's just going to pass out. But we'll worry about that down the line. Our Hashkivenu prayers on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim.
You do it You sing slightly better than I do, Cantor. We celebrate being together and the joy of Shabbat on page 162 for the Vishamru.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש שבת שבת ויהי נפש Shabbat vayhi nafesh.
I grew up with a rabbi who always, every single week, introduced the Amidah as the core of our worship service. And it truly is. If we look at the arc of our service, we have set the stage with our Kiddush and our candles. Then we have welcomed those in who make our space beautiful. We continue to work and practice with a number of prayers, including our Ve'ahavta and Shema and Michamocha and Hashkivenu, till we get to the apex of our service, the Shmona Esrei, the 18 blessings, the Amidah. This prayer that encompasses so much of what it means to be Jewish. Talks about our ancestors, talks about our relationship with God. And one of the most important things is it concludes with our one ultimate goal, that of peace, of shalom. And so all that we've been practicing for gets us to this very moment, as I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for the Amidah. Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rachel. Oops, sorry, hold on. I missed my page. Where are those matriarchs? Elohei. There they are. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot,
ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
The Jewish philosopher Martin Buber said it beautifully and succinctly. All journeys are destinations where the traveler is unaware. We take a moment for privacy and silent prayer, each of us in our own way.
יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי.
Before we get to our Misha Berach, I will remind you that if there are those who you'd like to submit for Misha Berach, I invite you to add their name to the form that is in the chat there. And our Misha Berach today, I'm especially thinking about those who are looking forward to moments of healing, especially for operations. A prayer that is written for just this type of moment. O merciful God, I trust thee in prayer. Thou who binds up wounds and heals the sick, I put my trust in you. Knowing that I am in your hands, O God, I have faith that you will not forsake me. Give me courage now and in the days ahead. Grant wisdom and skill to my physicians, to my caretakers. Make all those who are assisting who are assisting me in your instruments of healing power. Give me strength for this day and grant me hope for tomorrow. Hear my prayer. Be with me. Protect me. Restore me to health, Adonai, so that I may serve you. Heal me, Adonai, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved. For you are my praise. On this Shabbat, our Temple Sholom community is thinking about many who are in need of healing. Rita Mormino, Sarah Golub, Louise Chapman, Mary Spriggs, Norman Reed, Max Cohn, Winifred Halsey, Marcia Smith Leslie, Joan Stockhoff, Heidi Habs, Anthony Barnes, Susan Levine, Frema Blumenthal, Flo Bernberg, Jonathan Spitz, Elaine Baddock, Javier Escalante, Winifred Halsey, Cheryl Tanita, Didi Cohen, Avner Drucker, Jonah Enbar, Joseph Kupfer, Marion Kramer Barvith, Kimberly Dumbrow, Anna Sarah Kaplan, Shandel Friedel Schifrin, Ralph Oppler, Debbie Willage, Bob Beecher, Chuck Abrams, Hazel Golden Lee, Lily Nelson, Alec Jaladen, Bobby Scheiman, James Amick, Fletcher Kurtz, Malu Machuca Rose, Nathan Lamp, and Phil Dunn. I'm just gonna, yes, and as well as Leah Rachel Batduba Fagel, Gail Rothner, Howard Nagelberg, Dennis Tosi, and Bart Barish, as we pray for all of their healings with our words of Misha Berach.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheverach imotenu mekor habracha lahotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Okay, been prepping for the beginning of this sermon all day. Feel the rhythm, feel the ride, get on up, it's bobsled time, cool runnings. Yeah, I know this is the Summer Olympics, but I couldn't help myself. That, of course, is one of the most popular lines from the 1993 Disney movie Cool Runnings. This is a movie that brings back incredible memories of watching this with my family over and over and over again, where my youngest brother can probably still recite every single line in that movie. We had such a blast. And if you've not seen this, you are missing out, but I'm going to give a spoiler for a movie that's 28 years old. So it's centered around a disgraced bobsled coach who builds a team of Jamaican bobsledders. Hilarity ensues when these tropical Jamaicans find themselves in the cold of Calgary. They're constantly written off for not looking the part, for being outsiders in a sport which is not native to the climate of Jamaica. They are a tiny, inexperienced team fighting alongside the great winter sport countries. And there's a line in this week's Torah portion, Ve'et Hanan, that could be easily adapted to be about the Jamaican bobsled team, which was an actual real story in 1988. The line in this week's Torah portion goes like this: God did not show affection to you and choose you because you were more numerous than other people. It is because you are the fewest of all people. God didn't choose you because you are the most numerous. It's because you are the fewest of all people. Deuteronomy, what are you talking about? Moses, what are you talking about? How are you the fewest of all people? I mean, today that rings really true. In both Metro Chicago and Chicago proper, Jews represent 3.2% of the population. In the United States, we make up 2.4% of the US adult population. And in the world, we are just 2%. And the greater universe, I don't know. It might be a lot more, it might be a lot less. I have no idea. Well, God, I want to remind you something that, God, you told us a couple of books back, because we don't forget easily. God, you told us in Genesis, I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven and the sands on the seashore. And God, it was just in last week's Torah portion, which was the first portion of the book of Deuteronomy, where Moses reminded us, God has increased your numbers so that today you are as numerous as the stars in the sky. Okay? So you're telling me that we are the fewest of all people, but on the other side, speaking out of the other side of your mouth, I don't know. God, you're saying that we're as numerous as the stars in the sky, as numerous as the sands on the shore. I know that there are far, far more Jews at this time than back in the book of Deuteronomy, which has far more Jews than, say, back in Genesis, when Abraham was the one and only. So, of course, there was no Moyle around, and he had to circumcise himself. But the Jews at this point here in Deuteronomy, and just about at any point in history, are seemingly minuscule compared to our neighbors. And of course, this applies both to the Jewish people and as a population, and to the country of Israel and its physical size. But Jews feel like we're everywhere, feel like we're involved in so much. We have outnumbered ourselves with the number of awards and prizes, especially when you look at Nobel Prizes. And so, are we great? Are we fewer, as you're saying in this week's Torah portion? But are we great? Rabbi Jonathan Sachs writes a response to this. He writes, they will show the world that a people does not have to be large in order to be great. It does not have to be numerous to defeat its enemies. Israel's unique history will show that, in the words of the prophet Zechariah, not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. Not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone. We, with our small numbers, are going to do great things. And so it's got me thinking about tonight, because Some exciting things start tonight. In the words of Sanka Coffee in Cool Runnings, I'm feeling very Olympic today. As we watch the delegations enter during these opening ceremonies, we will see a number of nations with less than 5, and even sometimes just 1 or 2 athletes participating. They are surely thinking about that Zechariah quote, not by might, not by power, but by spirit alone. They have been preparing on their own, without a huge number of people around them, for this moment. And it is their driving spirit and that energy that has gotten them here. Of course, it is the might and power that they work towards, but that doesn't come without the spirit. And for us, for those of us here, I'm sure there have been moments in your life, there have surely been moments in my life, when that prophetic teaching has driven me. I don't have the might or the power, but I do have the spirit. Have there been times that you knew you needed to stand up, even though you're in the minority, because you knew that what you were doing was right? You weren't like the stars in the sky. You weren't like the sand in the sea. And maybe you didn't have a huge delegation with you as you marched with your flag. But you knew that you're standing up for a strong spirit. And that would have an outweighed impact to your numbers. Your impact would be great because of the spirit that you brought along. Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So it is not despite us being a small people, maybe a small delegation to the world, that we have an outsized impact on making this world a better place. Rather, it's because of it. It is because of our strong spirit, our partnership with each other and God, that we commit each and every day to doing what the prophet Micah conveyed. And when the prophet Micah said, "God has shown you what is good, do justice, act with love, and walk humbly with your God." As we, all of us, march through our own opening ceremonies of each and every day, may we fly our own flag, strong and proud. Shalom.
Oops, sorry. Spirit alone, show
Thank you so much, Cantor.
Rabbi.
No, absolutely beautiful. And man, it somehow all of the hand motions from camp and youth group come flying back, but especially the line, "Shall we all live in peas and carrots?" One of my favorite jokes, peas and carrots. So friends, we have a lot of things coming up at Temple Sholom in these next couple of weeks. And that's so exciting because for the last couple of weeks, we've had just a few announcements because we were so much more in that summer spirit. So, and I get to do all of them. So first, every single week, we are still doing Monday meal. We've been doing them all through the pandemic, feeding those who are hungry in and around the Lakeview area. So every week, our Temple Sholom friends and family, you are the ones to supply chips and bottled water and granola bars. And then it's also volunteers who come together to pack the bags that we pass out to those who are hungry. And we are in need of volunteers to donate and to donate their time. And so you can register or find out more information on how to do so by emailing Toby, who's toby@sholomchicago.org. On Wednesday, August 4th, so I think a week and a half, we have a special program called Mandela Struggle for Freedom. We're going to join the adult education, Shalem, and Sholom Justice groups for a virtual visit, as this is currently at the Illinois Holocaust Museum. The event is free, but registration is required, and you can register for it at the upcoming events link, which for those on Zoom is in your chat. We also, on Sunday, August 8th, the new and improved Feed the Hungry allows you the opportunity to sponsor a monthly Feed the Hungry Sunday. As a sponsor, you shop for items and assemble sandwiches at home with friends or family, and we deliver them to a church on the west side at a socially safe distance with masks, of course, and you can email Toby for more information on that. We do that in partnership with a number of other synagogues in the area. And finally, women, we have a lot of open house events coming up in the next couple of weeks. One I want to highlight is our Women of Temple Sholom open house on Monday, August 9th at 6 p.m. We invite you to come and enjoy a beautiful summer evening on the patio of El Presidente, a really fantastic Mexican restaurant in Lakeview. We're going to sip margaritas, sangria, and soft drinks. We'll nosh some Mexican vegetarian appetizers and catch up with new and old friends as we reflect on the last year and the upcoming year for Women of Temple Sholom. And if that's not enough, there's also going to be a raffle to enter. And this event is free as well, but registration is required as well. And you can go to that upcoming events link in the chat as well. So it is just beautiful of the amount of things that we have going on, which is just so special at this moment. As our next prayer, as we turn back to our prayer book on page 586, our Aleinu begins our cool down, our final bit of stretching, so that we can know that we're going to take all that we've done on this Shabbat and in this prayer session into our next ones. So we know that we're going to be able to bring it with us wherever we go. We rise on page 586 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
As we prepare for our mourner's Kaddish, and we can add the names into the link in the chat, a reading by Henry Nouwen. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives mean the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving much advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain, to touch our wounds with a gentle and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face with us the reality of our own powerlessness. That is a friend who cares in moments of mourning. Our Temple Sholom family today is mourning as it's my sad honor to announce the death of Kenneth Siegel, father of Helene Cohn, who died yesterday and will be laid to rest on Tuesday, the 27th at Sholom Memorial Park. We also recognize those whose yard sites we are observing in this week now ending. Rose Gold Amberg, Lynn Blumenthal, Fred Bondi, Lois Browdy, Harold Brem, Howard Cohen, Curtis Davis, Beverly Delinsky, Ruth Drobny, Ida Fetter, Al Giddens, Louis Goldberg, Dr. Marvin Goldstein, Marcia Julian, Janet Cohn, Leon Lesak, Sydney Buddy Marks, Bess Merens, Isidore Meyerowitz, Adele Mishkin, Albert Nemerow, Edna Oskin, Alice Brandeis Popkin, Julieta Sanchez, Rita Scheiman, Marcia Silverstein, Merrill Solomon, John Spanky, Jason Stone, Beatrice Seltzer, Dr. Gary Toback, Frida Weisbach, and those who our community has entered that they are thinking about adding to those names: Sherry Kamiko Goodman, Barbara Turner, Lorraine Pergament, Howard Vihan, Sandra Goinshore, Dr. Susan Sipes, Rita Scheiman, Rebecca Luker, Roberta Kay, and Hal Kay. And for all those, we recite the words of Kaddish Yatom.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. ויהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל
We are going to conclude this evening first with a thank you to Cantor Katzman, who I just always love working with. But at about, I don't know, 4 o'clock today, I texted the Cantor and said, Cantor Katzman, I realized I had a great line that I wanted to put into my sermon, and I just completely forgot to tell you about it. And that is the line that Debbie Friedman uses in her song, Not by Might and Not by Power. And I said, hey, Cantor Katzman, do you think you could include it? She said, absolutely. So thank you for preparing that for today, Cantor. So I think that's where we're going to conclude.
We're going to try.
Cantor. Thank you, Jackie Gilson, for dancing with me as well. As my prayer for all of us as we go on into our Shabbat. Again, as we march through our own opening ceremonies of each and every day of our lives, may we fly our own flag, strong and proud. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.